everyone, and welcome back to Living Intuitively with Elisa. This week's podcast, so it's a weekly tarot pull podcast, is for the week of April 12th through the 18th of 2020. So first off, happy Easter, everybody. So when I'm recording this, it is Easter Sunday. And it's a very unusual Easter Sunday because with everything that's going on in the world, we have to make new traditions. You know, we're used to this time of year being a time for family and gathering with friends and the community to celebrate. And that's what we're used to. However, with what's going on in the world right now, we have to make our own traditions this year. And we have to be okay with that and still be able to celebrate a joyous time of the year. You know, spring is here. And we have to, if we find the silver lining of this, we have to create rituals and traditions internally instead of relying on external sources for our happiness. And this is a theme that I've been seeing a lot lately, ever since we all went, are homebound, is to find new ways to spend our time, to spend time with family and our community. I know that for me and what I've witnessed and talked to other people is that we actually create more community out of all of this, which is one of the best things to come out of this, is more community, because we're forced to. You know, it's so easy to focus on the negatives, but one of the positives is that we have created a new tradition and new tools to create these traditions and rituals. You know, whether it's through online social media or through these Zoom calls. I feel like everybody I know has had to learn how to communicate with each other virtually. So I'd like to choose to focus on that aspect of this whole change, the positive part. So let's get to the tarot reading. I feel like the times right now, we're getting to what I feel like is the next chapter of the quarantine, of this that's going on. I'm choosing not to say it out loud, but we're getting to a new chapter of it. All of the hype that was centered around the beginning of it has a feeling that it's ending, and we're getting into this new section, new chapter of this. So let's pull a tarot card for that. So the card deck that I'm using is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I'm choosing this because it's a very commonly used deck. I have been called recently to start exploring other decks, so you might see them in future episodes. But before I even shuffle with these cards and start asking the universe, source, our internal wisdom, any of these questions, let's take a moment and focus on this transition period into this new chapter, whatever that chapter is. And just think about all of the lessons that we can learn from this time so that we can come out of it with a sense of accomplishment instead of worry and fear. So let's take a moment and take a couple deep breaths for this time and for the whole community. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. Another deep breath in. And a full exhale out. Thank you for spending this time every week with me as we try to navigate this life in this time. Alright, so I'm going to start shuffling the cards. And as I shuffle the cards, I'm going to ask the universe the same questions I ask every week, which is, what advice does the universe have for all of us during this time? Especially through this transition into this next chapter. And the reason why I want to elaborate a little bit on why I ask for advice. And that's because I want to keep the question general enough for it to apply to a whole community, to everybody who's listening. But I also want it to be specific. By asking for advice, we can take actionable, steps forward in maybe going towards a goal. Whether it's a concrete goal or just the goal of being happier and more fulfilled, or the goal of understanding ourselves. And when I ask the question to the cards, I like to ask before I even start shuffling, or while I start shuffling, because I want to be able to kind of meditate on that thought, on that question, while I'm shuffling. This moment of pause before you even pull a card is crucial in being open enough to receive the message that you get from the cards. So I'm going to shuffle one more time. And then I'm going to run my hands across the side of the deck until I feel a card that's standing out for all of us. Alright, so the card that I pulled is the Empress in reverse. So this is the third card of the Major Arcana, and it depicts a woman who's wearing a crown made of stars, sitting on what it looks like a very comfortable throne. There's big pillows and comfortable blankets. And she's wearing this beautiful robe-looking dress, very flowing. It's white, and it has these red flowers. It looks like she's wearing a little pearl necklace, and she's holding this, staff in one hand. And then one of the things that pops out every time I look at this card is the symbol of a heart. And then inside of the heart is the sign for Venus, which is commonly shown as the female or the feminine symbol. And in the foreground, at her feet, it looks like corn or wheat, some kind of crop. And in the background, there's a waterfall and trees, luscious trees. And then the sky behind her is yellow. So this card, the Empress, in the upright position, is all about that feminine, nurturing energy. That loving, growth. Some people say that this signifies fertility and love and family. everything around her is growing. So all of these crops that are in front of her are all in full bloom. The background behind her is lush and green, and the water is flowing. So if you imagine this feminine energy of the comforts and the luxuries that are flowing from her. But then she's an empress. So she has that kind of authority and that leadership quality in her. So if you imagine all of these put together, it's a woman in her full potential. But I pulled it in reverse. So what I see when I pulled this in reverse is that these kinds of energies are hidden to us right now. If you imagine a tap of water, a source of water with the valve closed. That's what I imagine when I see this card in reverse. The potential of flow, of creative flow, of love, of nourishment is there. But we have to turn the tap on to receive the full benefit of these healing energies, these nurturing energies. And whether we find that in love in someone else, in our family and our friends and our significant others, or we have to find that within ourselves, we need to find a way to open that valve and let it flow. And not just open it just a little quarter turn and have it dripping out. I'm talking full, all of the turns until it can't anymore, and it's flowing at full force. And we have to relish in that. We have to enjoy everything that can come to us. But in reverse, this is showing us that we're not allowing ourselves to get to that full potential. And this brings me to an idea that I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is abundance. This card in the upright position shows full abundance of love, of light, of creativity, of fertility. But in reverse, we're hiding that. Maybe we're dimming that light. And we aren't showing that we can have full abundance. We're not accepting that full abundance. We don't believe we can have that full abundance. Another analogy that I'm thinking about right now is having that spotlight. Whenever you're in theater, you're on the stage, and there's that person who is controlling the light, and you're on stage, and that person shines the light directly on you, and you're basking in that full light, and everybody can see you. What I'm imagining with this card is that maybe you're not shining that light directly on yourself. Or maybe the light is shining on the stage, but you're hiding from it. You're going outside of that light. Step into that full light. This card is encouraging that. And bask in it. So if I were to offer any advice, maybe journal prompts or meditations based on this card, I would say allow. Allow yourself to feel and to love to the full potential that you can. Don't stop yourself from feeling all of the feelings. And just allow, surrender and allow. Soften those edges. We tend to hold so much stress and worry in our bodies, and we tighten up. Maybe to spend this week just relaxing. Taking those cleansing breaths to, bring in all of the love and the abundance that you can so that you can let go. By letting go, you can create the abundance, the love, the fertility that the Empress brings. This is such a beautiful card. It's one of my favorites. So this week, embody the Empress. So I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any comments or questions about tarot or about intuition or about the Empress, you can reach me at Intuition Living on both Instagram and Twitter. On there, I'm sharing little tidbits of information about tarot and sneak peeks on future episodes. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out the previous episodes. I do weekly tarot pulls every week, every Sunday. And then I have 3 intuition chat episodes where I talk to a variety of people about a variety of topics. I know that's very broad. But the whole idea of the podcast episodes, intuition chat episodes, is to get people's point of view on using intuition in their daily lives and in their careers. So please check that out, and thank you so much for listening to this episode and any other episodes. Please rate and review this episode and this podcast, and share with your friends. I hope you have an amazing week, and I look forward to speaking to you all again. Bye.